Today, we're going to talk about Indigenous AWACS. Now, in a major boost for the indigenous defense industry, India is going to make 6 new airborne early warning and control planes to be developed by Defense Research and Development Organization, that is DRDO, on aircrafts from Air India to further improve Air Force surveillance capabilities. We will try and understand more details about this project as well as the critical requirement of AWACS out there. And for this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of guests today. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with, we have with us Dr. V.K. Saraswat, member of Niti Aayog. We also have with us Mr. M.S. Ishwaran. He is the director of the Center for Airborne Systems at DRDO, and retired Lieutenant General Dr. V.K. Saxena, distinguished fellow from VIF, is also joining us. Welcome, all of you gentlemen, to Rajya Sabha Television. Let me begin with you, Mr. Ishwaran. Let's start by giving our viewers an overview of this very important and significant project which your team is handling.
As you all know that Center for Airborne Systems and DRDO had taken up a project to develop indigenous airborne early warning and control system. Out of 3 aircrafts, we have already delivered 2, and third is also flying with the Air Force, though we are upgrading that. These systems are called Netra and have been developed on a smaller platform called Embraer. Now, as a sequel to that, Air Force was looking for additional numbers, and as a part of that, they had asked us to give some proposals. So we had proposed these additional numbers. When we were talking about it, we came to know that Air India has got their A319 and A320 class of aircrafts, which are available to be disposed of because of their own economic requirements. So we thought that why not look at these aircrafts, because generally what happens is that if you buy a new aircraft, the cost goes high. So we thought that having a used aircraft and configuring that to our requirement will have multiple advantages. The first one is that this aircraft has already been paid by the government of India as a part of Air India. And second one is these aircrafts are readily available and it can be easily refurbished and upgraded into the mission, special mission purposes, and it can easily come for another 25-30 years. So with that in mind, we proposed to go for the 6 numbers of airborne early warning and control system, and it's one of the major force multipliers. So a proposal which was agreed by Air Force, and then jointly it was discussed at the highest level, and then we were asked to put up a case which was, as you know, the rest that DAC approved this case on 17th of December. So we are now working towards getting a formal sanction. So that's where it stands.
Okay, and what's the timeline, the perspective timeline in terms of the project development and completion as well once you get the final go-ahead?
Yeah, you see the major task in this program is the modification of the aircraft, which has to be done by OEM. So at this point of time, we are looking at the first 1 or 2 aircrafts available after 36 months of placement of contract with the OEM for modification. Thereafter, we will take maybe 6 months to 1 year to see that mission systems are installed and flight evaluation is done. But the first 2 systems, we are planning to deliver somewhere between 36 to 48 months, and thereafter every 6 months 1 aircraft. So by around 72 to 84 months, we should be able to complete this program, giving Air Force all the 6 items. That's what is the plan at this point of time.
Okay. Let me bring in Dr. Saraswat here as well. Dr. Saraswat, you've been a part of that organization. You've led it from the front as well. Now, developments like these, when we talk about indigenous project of 6 AWACS aircraft, that too being built by DRDO on Air India planes, this is one more feather in DRDO's cap?
Absolutely. Now this is going to be a real force multiplier. And DRDO's capability, which has been established over the years in the area of AWNC kind of systems with capabilities which are matching internationally today. And now the growth of technology that has taken place in DRDO in terms of miniaturization, in terms of power handling, in terms of EW measures, if all that is put in place in the new systems which are going to be developed, I think we will have certainly an edge over the rest of the people around us, and we will really have a better reach in all domains, whether the air domain or the ground domain.
Okay, but the most important question here is that the journey through which we reached here. Dr. Saraswat, you've been part of that journey as well. That's also really, really significant. From those small steps which were taken by DRDO decades back now to this particular, point wherein we are able to make most of these platforms on our own.
Yeah, I have seen the growth taking place because I was part of it for many years. When the first AWACS system was being built at Israel using the IL-76 aircraft of Russia, and I had seen the integration of that taking place in late 90s and early 2000s, which was delivered. Then we saw when I was a scientific advisor, and prior to that, we saw the integration of the AWNC, where Embraer came in the picture, and the structural modification, aerodynamic modifications were carried out by Embraer, and our team developed the phased array radars, which are to be positioned on the Embraer, and integration took place. It was a massive effort on the part of DRDO to integrate a foreign agency from the point of structural and aerodynamic modifications, power management, and also ensuring that a state-of-the-art phased array radar is integrated along with software and hardware, meeting all the requirements of the user. So it is a journey which has really made DRDO very, very able and strong in the integration of such complex electronic systems on airborne platforms. So this is a major strength that has been developed over maybe about now 20 years. But I think the steps which were taken has really given us the indigenous capability today, which is the reason why Government of India has reposed confidence and allowed now the development and production of these 6 AWACS using the Airbus aircrafts of the country. I'm quite certain the industry today, Indian industry will make a major impact as far as this program is concerned. So not only the DRDO has learned, I think it is the industry also which will certainly benefit, and we will have a completely holistically indigenous system with better performance.
Okay, let me also bring in Lieutenant General Saxena here as well. General Saxena, from the point of view of the strategic importance, why is AWACS a very critical equipment if you look at from the forces point of view as well?
Yeah, I will like to talk as a user, and everybody is trying to say force multiplier and eye in the sky and all. I will like to put it in the perspective of a user. Now, our potential adversaries are capable of causing harm to us in the battle through air, ground, and sea. Now, talking about the air threat, which can manifest at any medium, is prosecuted by aircrafts, by cruise missiles, by surface-to-surface missiles, by anti-radiation missiles, by unmanned aerial systems, and soft-kill weapons. Now, to counter such a threat, our country's aircrafts, that is air power, as well as the air defense power, that is ground-based air defense weapon systems on ground and shore, as also fleet at the sea, are integrated into an integrated air defense system called IADS. Now, the basic requirement for this system is that the threat which is incoming to us needs to be recognized, detected at the longest possible range, identified as friendly or hostile, prioritized as to its legitimacy, as to its lethality and immediacy, a weapon selected which will take on the threat, and fire delivered onto it successively. Now, one of the biggest element in this whole chain of air defenses is the sensor element, the one which detects the aircraft or the threat. Now, the problem with the ground-based sensors is that they get restricted by many fields. They get restricted by the ground clutter, they get restricted by the mountainous terrain, they get restricted by any man-made or other obstacles. Now, this particular platform being elevated does not have this problem and is ideal for air defense, early warning, and controlling of the air defense battle. Now, it is not only air defense, it is also the offensive role of the Air Force in prosecuting the air threat across the border in terms of offensive air support, and counter surface force operations, which can be immediate or pre-planned. Now, to look hundreds of kilometers inside the enemy territory is the job of which this AWACS can do. Now, for example, I feel very proud to tell you that this system with two back-to-back planar array, which Dr. Saraswat was bringing out, the active electronic scanned array radar, not only provide accurate detection of the threat, it has also got very strong ESM, that is electronic support muscle, and communication intelligence muscle. 3,000 emitters can be tracked. Now on 26th February, when we struck Balakot, you'll be surprised, you will be happy to know that one of this indigenous AWACS was a part of the mission of 12 Mirages, 4 Sukhois, 1 AWACS, and 1 Heron. So AWACS is a great force multiplier. Why? Because it obliterates the basic disadvantage of a ground-based radar system, which is the heart of air defense and offensive air support battle. As also in aerial combat, it can be a great controller of aerial combat battle. Hence, it is strategically important.
Okay. It is really important, as pointed out by General Saxena there, and one of the analysts says that Indian Air Force should have at least 10 AWACS, with 6 of these being manufactured out there. This indeed will be a force multiplier. That brings me back to Mr. Ishwaran here. Mr. Ishwaran, as both Dr. Saraswat was also referring to and General Saxena also pointed out, user requirements, the end user requirements is ultimately really important when we talk about any platform which is being made for the defense forces. And here, from your perspective, if you look at, and then the way you're going to develop this project, how do you, look at the plan to fulfill all user requirements from a future perspective as well? Because technology, as all of us know, keeps on changing.
Yeah, Vishal, you see that in this context, I would like to first tell you that how we went about developing the one. And that is where we have enough of learning, and almost similar way we are going to go the next one. In the first one, what we developed from the day go, there was a team of users which were sitting with us and who are giving us all their brains and all the manners in which they talk, they really execute the battlefield, including the algorithms, including the strategies and other things, which actually translated into the functions of the AWNC. So user is totally with us in this, and we have a huge contingent of user. Even now, when we are evolving this concept, the requirements, the users are sitting with us and they are giving us what exactly they require. We tell them what are the constraints the platform is going to give, and then we come to a mutual understanding what we will try to attempt and what we will try to really get. So this previous program has been a big learning experience for all of us, and we went about it in a very professional manner with user. In fact, after the development, when the system was being evaluated, it was user who evaluated from the word go. There is a aircraft testing establishment next to us. Apart from that, the squadron people, we conducted as many as somewhere around 60 to 70 campaigns in various Air Force bases, out of which somewhere around 45 to 50 of them were simulated exercises as the aircraft is deployed, which the output of which we used to fine tune our system and finally deliver it. Even today in that system, we are still keeping on fine tuning our all the softwares and other things, and we keep on upgrading and improving the performance. So one thing which works in this favor, which allows us to do this, is today's systems are highly software intensive. So the hardware plays only like a base, this one, whereas the actual performance gets completely, sculptured by the software which has to be done, and the user sits with us and then tells us what exactly he wants, and daily basis he evaluates the performance on the rig as well as in the aircraft. So that is how we go about ensuring that the system which is delivered is as effective as what user wants.
Okay. So it is as effective as the needs and requirements are for the defense forces there. Dr. Saraswat, coming back to the part of not only indigenization but also the journey from dependent on imports to now where we are trying to become self-reliant, developing all these critical systems at home only, and then obviously as we have seen in some other weapons platform, obviously we would be able to, if we want, to export them as well. So this is coming, the entire journey coming full circle.
Yes, I think today, if you look at our AWNC, as I mentioned to you, and prior to that, if you see the AWACS which came with the Indian Air Force via Israel and the Russian route, the indigenous content today is better than 70%. And now I am 100% certain that with the kind of strength that has emerged in the industry and in DRDO today, right from the gallium nitride based TR modules to the complete integrated systems for the arrays on both sides, giving a wider coverage, more than 270 degrees, which was an earlier case. I'm 100% certain and the DRDO is going to give a much better coverage. Providing the best of the EW systems, as General Saxena was mentioning, the ESM, the Cummins, the ELINT, and the radar fingerprinting, and also the software and hardware for providing the air combat support, because they are going to be assisted systems for air combat in the years to come. So all these new technologies will get embedded, and that will give us the required kind of an edge as far as the war fighting capabilities are concerned. And I'm sure Ishwaran will be facing this issue when he is discussing with the user, that many of these new features would be demanded. The most important thing is just going to be the power management, because these aircrafts are civilian aircrafts, the power management, the cooling management, the management of the modifications of the structural systems. So all this will be a gain. I am 100% certain all this being done indigenously, while the OEM will be used for the aircraft modification. Certainly there will be a huge learning for our industry, because one can be done there and probably some more can be done in our own country where our own industry can participate. As far as the electronics is concerned, I think we have today the complete gamut of electronics industries which can produce the radars, the electronic warfare systems, the entire thing. And integration, of course, DRDO is the master in that. They will be able to carry out the full integration of hardware and software. And one thing I want to mention to you, our greatest advantage is that this software is totally indigenous. And it has got the strength of India completely integrated with not only DRDO pitching in, but the industry also pitching in all formats. So hardware and software, total indigenous capability certainly brings the foot forward under the Atmanirbhar Bharat and giving us the best force multiplier.
Okay. Saxena, your views on that technical aspect as well as the self-reliance part?
Sir, I must bring out, while we have the Director Cabs here, the full indigenous force capability of India was behind this project. Everybody just talking about the DRDO. I will say DRDO, the National Aerospace Laboratory NAL, LRD, DEAL, the DARE, DRDL, and CABS, 7 different agencies have put their might behind realizing this system. Now, let me give you a flavor of this system a little bit. Earlier, in the as Dr. Saraswat brought out, in the Israeli platform, we had a limited capability of a limited coverage of not 360 degrees, 240 degrees. Here, by putting 2 planar array SR radars back to back, a total coverage has been achieved. That is only one part. Secondly, what about the accuracy? This system has a directional accuracy of 2 degrees and has got a communication frequency band accuracy of 1 megahertz. What is 1 megahertz? It is something to be proud of by this country. Our SATCOM capability has been configured on Ku-band, most precise band, and also its air surveillance and ground surveillance are of a high order. It also can carry out search, track while scan, has frequency agility, What about its protection? The director Kaz was bringing out that we have a full self-protection suit built on this aircraft. What does it mean? It means we have a passive missile warning radar, we have radar warning system, we have countermeasure dispenser systems, so that this system has its intrinsic capability. And the futuristic view of the DRDO is to build a stealth muscle into this. So, and also I wish to tell the users, they should look at the AWACS as two different things. Payload, which is actually AWACS, and the platform. Platform can be anything. We started with the Israeli IL-76, then came ERJ-145 Embraer, then somebody was talking about A330, which is each platform is 250 million. Then there was this C295 being signed, the project being signed between TASL and Airbus. We'll use that. Now Air India has pitched in with 6. These are all platforms. What is of importance is the payload. Payload is what our country has achieved, and we need to be proud of that. Today we have a platform which compares not only favorably, better than any other AWACS. What is Pakistan? It has got K2000, ZDK-03. What Chinese has got 30 of them. All right, KJ200, KJ2000, and ZDK-03. But compare their capabilities and technologies. Our technology is of 2015 onwards. The first flight happened in 2011, but our technology is that vintage. So need to be proud as an Indian citizen in Make in India. Like I always say, अपना है तो सपना नहीं, अपना है ये. स्वदेशी है तो अपना है, और विदेशी है तो सपना है. इसलिए खड़े हो जाओ और अपने दमखम पर achieve karo Atmanirbharta. And this is one example of achieving Atmanirbharta. The country need to salute such achievements.
Definitely. These are the achievements which make all of us proud there. Let's have one concluding comment from Mr. Ishwaran before we bring this discussion to an end. Mr. Ishwaran, from your point of view, the way forward from here onwards, not only about for this particular project, but the overall gamut of, these technological advancements which can give more which rather can advance the capabilities of our defense forces?
Vishal, you see that when we started this program for indigenous development, Saraswat sir can also confirm that the industrial maturity at that point was very low, and we started. That is one of the reasons where we took on so much of time, and whether it is a AWNC program or LCA program, we had to mature industry and take them along with us. Today we have an industry which is able to do. In fact, I'm proud to tell you that even in AWNC, as General Saxena was telling, Saraswat was telling, Sir was telling, except for the aircraft, today all the systems in the AWNC are totally indigenous if you leave out the component, because we don't have a component base in India. On the other hand, as we are coming up with the new generation systems, they are going to be more and more indigenous. In fact, we are now looking at in next coming decade whether we can look at the import substitution of as much as 70 to 80% as compared with current levels. As far as airborne surveillance system is concerned, I would like to tell you today we are close to 100% indigenous except for the platform. So in coming years, for instance, CAPS is taking up several projects, including one for Coast Guard, which are all result of whatever technologies has been established over a period of long time. And that is going to pay off in coming years. So as far as I am concerned, I would like to just put on this one that airborne surveillance system, India is going to be fully Atmanirbhar, rather it is fully Atmanirbhar even today. So that's where we stand, and we would like to